because
It's too
we
soft?
did
Okay, I'll
have
turn
an
it up
event
then.
just
Okay, there we
finishing
go.
up, and
There you go.
a very interesting event, especially for you. I don't remember the last time. Of course, I'm talking about Norway Chess. I don't remember the last time in a 9-round event that you had 6 decisive games. 3 draws, and then we're going to be discussing about the Armageddon and the interesting format that Norway Chess had, but also the number of decisive games. Can you remember the last time you had 6 decisive games in a 9-round event?
No, I think generally I have a higher percentage of decisive games than some of my colleagues, but not to that extent. Definitely not 6 out of 9. It's a bit unusual. Yeah, it was very up and down. What can I say? Like, my immediate reaction after the event was, of course, kind of like extreme disappointment. Now I think it's a bit more measured, in that, like, taking it all together. There's of course some good and bad. The bad is, like, since it happens at the end, the bad is what you feel the most.
Of course, very true. Yeah, I mean, this is actually very true generally. Like, when you play a tournament, if you have a good tournament, but then you lose the last round game, it's always like you always have this like very sour taste in your mouth. Like, it's very, very bad. 750k Norwegian krone, to be clear, not USD. That is 750k Norwegian krone.
In reverse, of course, it would have felt very good, right? If I had, let's say, started -2 and then finished with 4 wins.
True. Yeah.
Then it would have felt like a major success. But
to that extent, I don't think you were ever +4, right? You're +3 at all times, and then you dropped back to +2, then +3 again, and then +2 in the end after the last round.
Yeah, I was never +4. I won 3 out of my first 4, and then I scored -1 in the last half. Obviously got very, very shaky in a lot of games. Yeah, it's of course the last game was very silly from my point of view. I was losing after 15 moves, or whatever move number it was that I played F5. And yeah, very, very silly way, of course, to, I mean, it can happen that you lose, to lose that way. And then the problem is that, yeah, of course I understood after that, like, what am I doing?
Actually, to kind of start with the unpleasant side of the event, that moment when you played F5 in the last round against Hikaru, you were leading. To give some background story to this moment, you were leading by 2.5 points. The format giving 3 points for a classical victory. Obviously, that means that if Hikaru wins and he was in a must-win situation, he will catch you. Actually, he will surpass you. He will leapfrog you and win the event. And this was a very difficult moment. You played F5. I still don't know what went through your mind, so maybe I think it's best for you to kind of give up, give away your insights as to what happened.
They made the board too big.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to transpose to something which I was familiar with, which comes from a completely different move order, but I just mixed up the move orders completely because I hadn't checked this line in quite some time and didn't remember anything about it. And of course, if you don't play F5, you play knight b4. There are a lot of games here where white takes and plays knight c5. A lot of pretty high-level games. Black plays queen d5, white plays d4, black plays bishop g4, white plays h3, black takes everything, takes on d4, white plays knight d3. Well, take on f3 usually. I think maybe queen d4 is also fine. But taking on f3, I think, is like the games that usually happen.
Take
and
on
d4 and knight d3. Like, there's a lot of games like this. Specifically, they reach this position, I think. Although I'm sure.
By the way, just to be very clear, of course, like, to be very clear, I looked at this exact position before the game, so this is not rocket science. But that's why F5 was such a surprise move, because I had obviously looked at this before the game. So anyway, let's keep going.
This is an equal end game where white is the tiniest bit more pleasant because you have an outpost and knight and whatever, and well, obviously white never risks here. Black risks just the tiniest bit, but you make a draw here like 99 out of 100 times.
Yeah.
And this is what Hikaru wants to go for. He didn't have like some super ambitious approach. I think he was basically going to test me a little bit in some theory, and then if I find the answers, then he was going to acquiesce to a draw, because what can you do, right? I mean, if your opponent finds the right moves, if he knows what to do, then chess is basically an equal game.
Of course.
So if I had turned my brain on, or not tried to transpose to what I had seen long ago, then I would have gone for knight b4, because it's the most obvious move.
Yeah.
And probably, I can't say definitively, but probably would have held the game.
You would have had great chances to do so, yes.
And then f5, I was my.
But I mean, but this is the whole point too. Also, like as far as it goes, like this is what modern chess is generally. In modern chess, there really are two approaches. The first real approach, frankly, is either you play some long line. If your opponent knows the line, it's a draw. And I actually did this, by the way, in a previous game, which I drew. Like, my game against Hikaru on Mamadiyar was the same thing, where I couldn't find anything that I really liked or find a hole in his Queen's Gambit accepted repertoire. So what I did was I actually tested him. I played something where he has to sack a piece. If he doesn't sack a piece, I'm probably just better. He has to sack the piece, but even after that, he still has to find a couple more perfect moves. Now, of course, Shak knew the line, and he played it perfectly, and the game was a draw. But that is generally what modern chess is at the end of the day. Is you know, it's a matter of you basically have to figure out what your approach is going to be. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, well, it's just a draw, and that's life, what to do. So that is the bottom line. That's absolutely the bottom line, is that, like, you try to test your opponent, you hope it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But at the end of the day, everything is equal no matter what. So you might as well test your opponent, see if they remember the line. If they don't, then you're going to get a win. If they do, it's a draw. But what to do? Everything is equal. I mean, that's just the reality of modern day chess, plain and simple. Everything is equal no matter what you do. Everything is a draw. Everything is equal. So that's that. Let's keep going.
Which, like 99% of it was, I just want to transpose to something familiar, and it looked like f5 and knight g3 and f4, and it's a position, knight e4 bishop g4, and this is a position which can arise from another move order, which I was aiming for, which is some sort of theory.
And I think that move order had the rook on a1 instead of c1.
Correct. Yeah, it's white plays rook c1 later. I mean, it's it doesn't really matter. And of course, I saw the move knight c5, and I convinced myself that queen a5.
Yes.
And that here, if knight a4, bishop takes a3, rook c6, I was calculating this, and somehow convinced myself that black equalizes here, which is probably also not true, but it's closer to the truth than what I realized after he took on c5, which is that queen a5. He plays knight g5, and I basically
you just resign. Yeah, exactly. You just resign. Yep.
Because queen takes a3, queen h5 is mate. And the unfortunate thing is, if I tried to defend against queen h5 with, for example, g6, previous move.
Wait, am I lagging? What's going on? Am I lagging, or is YouTube lagging? What's going on? What?
Yeah.
Like, he also has the f3 square.
Yeah, so that was a big problem.
And if e4, there's knight c takes c4, so it all just falls.
Why is my YouTube lagging? What the heck? Why is it lagging? Let me just go back a second. I'm not lagging? Okay, let me just go back a second. That's weird.
And that here, if knight a4, bishop takes a3, rook c6, I was calculating this, and somehow convinced myself that black equalizes here, which is probably also not true, but it's closer to the truth than what I realized after he took on c5, which is that queen a5, he plays knight g5, and I basically immediately resign.
Yeah.
Which, because queen takes a3, queen h5 is mate. And the unfortunate thing is, if I tried to defend against queen h5 with, for example, g6, previous move.
Yeah.
Like, he also has the f3 square.
Right.
Yeah, so that was a big problem.
And if e4, there's knight c takes c4, so it all just falls apart. Like, and obviously my thinking was, like, this is not difficult stuff. So my thinking was obviously kind of broken. Like, something was just wrong with me.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, there's not much you can do. Like, I think knight c5 I played probably the first line, not to lose on the spot. But the problem is he just trades queens after that, and there's nothing that really black can do. I mean, it's two pawns, and unfortunately my bishop on c8 is dominated. So in endgames, I can't free my pieces. And there are scenarios where
Why is YouTube lagging? What the heck?
Where black could get compensation for the 2 pawns, but
why is it lagging? Like I'm not dropping frames. Like I'm completely fine. Like my stream is completely fine. Why is YouTube sucking? Terrible.
Free on C8, and it just never does if white maintains any accuracy. So I don't think I had even the slightest chance.
No, and I think
after that,
I'm not downloading.
We discussed this after the game as well. You did put as much resistance as one could put, but it was just like his advantage never decreased.
Right.
He was precise enough to maintain the advantage, never let it go, and there was simply nothing you can do. It's just one of those hopeless positions, and it's hopelessly simple as well.
Right. Yes, this
because
is true.
He forces the queen trade. Otherwise, you get checkmated or you lose some serious material. And,
yeah,
and
you know what? I probably should have played f4 here. Like probably just practically, I should play because like queen d5, queen c2, he trades the queens. Like at least f4, he can move his knight back to e4 and
f4 like this.
At least that forces him to make some not as obvious moves.
Yeah,
but probably like h3 is crushing. But yeah, I should have done this. And at least
He's right.
Because my problem is really the bishop on c8. At least it has a square. Like I don't think queen d5 is going to save the game or get close to it. But yeah, here is just queen c2, queen c4. I mean, like at least f4 was a bit of a better try.
Yeah, f4. Yeah. Practically, perhaps.
At least practically. I mean, but the problem was I also wasn't like in a state of mind even to start putting up resistance. So
what was your state of mind at that point? And I don't want to bring back difficult memories and difficult moments, but how do you recover in the game and how did you force your save? Because that's basically the only option you have at that point, to just continue fighting and give the best you can to hold.
Okay, I mean, I didn't hold the game, obviously, so it's a moot point. But yeah, okay, I just tried to find something that doesn't lose on the spot. Like I saw at least this endgame after rook d5, I don't lose another pawn. So I was trying to avoid losing 3 pawns. And I was hoping, without much belief that it would ever work, but hoping that in a long game, maybe I start to diminish the advantage a little bit, and it felt pretty hopeless, but I guess crazier things have happened. But yeah, he also handled it pretty practically well.
He's right. Oh, not again. Not again. Really? Let me make sure. No, I'm fine. I'm fine in OBS. There must just be like buffering here.
Like he was making pretty decent moves quickly and not getting low on time. He only got low on time at the end when there wasn't really much left to be done for me.
Yeah. No, it was an interesting tournament and a tournament of opposites almost, and opposites feelings as well throughout the event. Extremes.
Yeah, no, I mean it's absolutely true. So in general terms, what Fabiano is saying here, I mean, is right. Which basically what he was doing is what we always try to do as top players, which is when you're playing a game, if you're confused about a position, you automatically default to trying to remember what the right move is. It's your automatic state of mind. Where if you've looked deeply at a line, you always are trying to default. It's like, what was the move here? You're trying to default to remember. And so what happened to Fabiano is he thought that it was, he remembered the line with f5 where the rook is on f1 on a1, and then in his mind it's like it's always f5. But the rook's on c1, so it's different. He wasn't able to sort of in his mind get that in his head basically. And so he was doing what we all do. Like when I play a game and it's some complicated position, you're like, wait a second, what is the move here? And it's like, against this knight e4, bishop a3, what is the line? It's f5. So in his mind, because he had memorized, he had looked at it so many times, like f5. So f5 was burned in his mind, and then it's the wrong position where f5 doesn't work. And unfortunately, the position, as Fabiano said here, is just so bad that there's nothing even that I had to really do. It's just completely lost. So rather unfortunate for Fabiano. All right. Next up, we have another clip. What is this clip? Let's watch this clip.
Cool. All right. Norway chess comes to an end, second place. Now, that kind of leads us into the next point of conversation, which is the Grand... It's not the Grand Prix points. It's the FIDE circuit points. So let's discuss those, because right now you're sitting at 3 events, and there's been a couple of updates in that regard. Just to give you guys some insight, some background to this story, basically the player that wins the circuit at the end of the year.
Oh, great. It's freezing again. Yay. Yay.
Gets a candidate spot for Toronto 2024. So quite significant. Everybody, there's some open tournaments involved which get points. There's closed events from all over the world, national championships, things of that nature, very strong events in general. So right now we see Gukesh leading the pack, but at the same time he also has 5 events, so they will take the best 5 results from the calendar year and add the points, and whoever wins based on those points gets the candidate spot. Right now, Gukesh already played 5 events.
Blue Cash,
sitting at
Blue
75
Cash,
points.
not Gukesh, Blue
Wesley
Cash.
70 points with 5 events, and then you and Anish separated by only 2 points, but Anish has an extra event. So up to this point, I want to say your calendar year has been quite successful. One in Romania that gave you a lot of points, 26.84. I think 27 and a little bit is maximum, so that's good. Obviously,
yeah, pretty much. 27 is like more or less the most you can. We already know the events that are going to happen this year, and 27 is going to be the highest that you're going to get for an event, because the Sinkfield Cup is like the next classical super tournament, and that's not going to have Magnus.
Right.
While, for example, Norway, it's based on average rating. Norway had Magnus, who's obviously very high rated, but it also has Tari, who brings down the average quite a bit.
Yes.
So basically 27 or close to it is going to be more or less the maximum. For example, Hikaru got 27 for Norway. I got 26.84 for Superbet, because Magnus wasn't there, but the lowest rated player was 2700. So it was quite high average rating. Yeah. And so if you look at like Anish, we're more or less tied, because he has 1 extra event, but this event is a very poor event, so he got like 2 points from it.
So 27 in Tata,
he's wrong
for him.
He's wrong, because they say only top 8 count for the average rating. So he's actually Fabian's wrong, but okay, it doesn't matter. Nobody knows what the format is exactly.
In Superbet Romania, that's very decent. Then Norway, very decent, 16.31. And as you were mentioning, the W.
Yeah, nobody knows what the format is exactly.
Count, because he's going to replace that with some better event.
Yeah.
So he's going to play some events in the Grand Chess Tour, and he's going to have a better result, hopefully for him, than 2 points, because 2 points is basically nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, you can check Noterbeck got 10 points from the Blitz tournament before Norway Chess.
So how many super events do we have? Sinkfield Cup, that's one of them with a lot of points at stake. Magnus not playing.
It's basically only Sinkfield Cup, because the Grand Swiss and the World Cup, they're kind of super events, but they're kind of qualification events, and they're a bit different. They're not like closed events.
What about US Champs?
So US Champs, I don't think will be counted as a super tournament. I mean, the average rating will be much lower. You'll have players who are low 2600s, even high 2500s maybe.
True. Yeah, someone asked, am I playing the Sinkfield Cup? As of right now, probably not, but a lot depends on the on the whole qualification process as far as Canada. So I wouldn't say that it's like out of the question, but I would say it's unlikely, but it all is going to depend on what the situation is regarding the candidates.
Probably going to get like a 2720 average.
Do you think it's going to be that high, 2720?
Well, I'm thinking about 6 players already over 2700, maybe more than that actually. Yeah, I think 6 players. It's you, it's Wesley, Lenier, Levon.
Hikaru will play.
Hikaru won't play. Okay, that's We don't know that for sure. By the way, I'm not convinced that
play.
he will not play. This is an assumption right now. We might see. I don't know. Look, call me crazy, but what if Hikaru decides to play the US Championship?
No, he might play, but I actually don't think that he will. And I'm wondering. I know this is a bit funny, but I'm wondering because Hans will play.
Hans will play. Yes.
So, like, will Hikaru want to play in the same
Well, there are a couple things, first of all, as far as this goes. First of all, I have a scheduling conflict to begin with. Secondly, as far as Hans goes, Hans is very likely not going to qualify for the US Championship based on the current ratings, just to be very clear. Hans right now is a rating of like 2680, and they are using the July rating list. So if Hans does not get his rating up, Hans is not going to qualify to begin with. So the whole point that Fabian is talking about is not necessarily relevant at the present moment, just to be very, very clear.
Oh, you're thinking it might be like a conflict due to the lawsuit, right?
No, I'm sure that they can play in the same tournament. I'm just, will Hikaru actually want and be willing to play Hans?
Well, that's going to be a good story for Hikaru's YouTube channel.
Maybe, I don't know. But
so I don't know if he values that.
Like last year, the lowest rated player was Lenderman 2535, and also Elshon 2537, and then 2563 Christopher, and 2608 a Wonder.
It's free. Of course, now it has to freeze again. Obviously, now it has to freeze. It just has to freeze at the critical moment. No, so to answer that question though, yeah, as of right now, I do have a scheduling conflict regardless. That might change, but already it's very unlikely I'm playing the US Championship for separate reasons.
And after that's 2650 plus, but that's a lot of players who are going to bring down the average quite significantly.
True.
Well, let's just put it this way.
So FIDE circuit, just for people who are wondering about the FIDE circuit, just to be clear, it's basically you have 5 tournaments and they take your 5 results. You have to have 4 classical tournaments, 1 rapid tournament, and I think there's 1 spot that is decided by this. Now, a lot of people are going to qualify via other methods. So this is the one that's like it's very messy in terms of who's going to make it and who's not going to make it.
Who is close to 2700? I think he's 2687. I'm not convinced he has a spot by rating.
But he's not going to get those junior spots or the US.
You have Open 1 junior spot and 1 US Open spot.
Yeah, but
because last year it was 4. You have to remember that. Last year you had 2 junior spots and 2 US Open spots because
that's true. Last year was especially low rated by average rating. And also, a lot of us had lost rating, so I was 2758.
The guy left is Christian Chirilla. He's a
I don't know what the average rating will be. It might be very, very strong. It might be, I mean, it'll be an important event anyway, because if you win, even if it's like 2700 average or 2690 average, it's still going to give a lot of points, right? It's still going to give like 17, 18 points maybe. So it's still a good event to win. And Zagreb will count. Zagreb is going to be... Can you check, when Magnus won Poland, how many points did he get for that?
Let's see. That's a very good question.
He got 12. Okay, so actually winning Zagreb is not like a big deal, which is kind of...
points. Yeah, the Rapid and Blitz seem to be very much outweighed by the Classical.
That makes sense. It makes a lot of sense.
Classical should matter more. I agree with that.
It's going to be hard to say like which events are going to be. I mean, the World Championship, Rapid and Blitz, will those count at the end of the year?
They should. They definitely
and will those
should.
have like special points awarded because they're World Championships?
My guess is yes, but yeah.
Who knows? Yeah, I don't know.
Who knows?
The system is very strange to me.
Yeah. Cool.
That being said, Anish and I are in good position, and I think Gukesh is in a reasonable position, and some other guys like Hikaru is in a good position if he plays events, but he actually has to play some events, which I'm not sure if he'll actually have to play.
Yeah. He so far he's kind of signaling that he's not going to play that many events. I think he even mentioned it during one.
Because you need to play 5 events to even qualify. But besides qualifying, I think you like 27 points at the moment. It's the maximum he could get from a tournament, but it's still like very far behind unless he picks up a few other wins from other tournaments, right?
Yeah. Still not.
Yeah, so as Crispy in chat says, Hikaru right now, note to self, play events, but what about my chat? Exactly. I mean, we'll see. Nothing is clear cut right now. Nothing is clear cut. But we'll find out. The other thing that's actually that Fabiano misses though, when maybe he talks about later in the episode, but the one critical point that Fabiano is also missing here is that there is a rating spot in place. So as of right now, if Magnus does not play, I will qualify by rating. So that is the one important point to note in terms of what Fabiano is actually missing here in this, is that the rating spot does matter quite a bit, and probably the two people in the best shape for that are myself or Fabiano by far. That is the important thing to note. Now we have one more little video to watch. Let's watch this last little clip.
Did you see this talk by Kramnik? There was an interview
on Levitov chess.
Yeah, he was
about
talking
cheating
to Ilya Levitov. Yeah, it was a talk about.
Of course, it has to freeze here. Obviously, it has to freeze. Frustrating.
Cheating. It was interesting. It's in Russian, but pretty accurate subtitles, so I was able to follow it on YouTube.
I did not see it, but you've watched it. Give us kind of like the summary of it.
I mean, I didn't watch the whole thing because it's like an hour long. I didn't feel like watching the whole thing, but I watched bits and pieces. Also, a lot of it is based on basically Kramnik did an analysis of people's games on Tile Tuesday using the accuracy from chess.com. And he drew conclusions based on this accuracy. And I'm not sure that the accuracy tool is very accurate. It's kind of funny, but I don't know if you can.
Oh, that's great. It's like the accuracy tool is not very accurate. That's hilarious. That's like the best thing I've heard all day. That's the best thing I've heard all day. That's common.
And he was on Tile Tuesday using the accuracy from chess.com. And he drew conclusions based on this accuracy. And I'm not sure that the accuracy tool is very accurate. It's kind of funny, but I don't know if you can say that a game is a good game or not a good game, or say that a player is maybe getting assistance in this game because they have, let's say, 90% accuracy. Because first of all, the accuracy, I don't know if it accounts for, like, let's say, overall accuracy or big blunders or it's obviously no, it does account for theory. I think they do account for theory, but the other thing is that it doesn't account for complicated positions. Like at some point in Tile Tuesday, I played a string of like 96% accuracy games, and I didn't win any of the games. They were all draws because I was playing
Magnus, theory. Hikaru, yeah, it's all theory, of course.
Gata, and we just played very, very very stable games. Okay, in the game against Magnus, at some point I missed a win, so there was a bit of that, but overall accuracy didn't lead to me winning games. Well, sometimes you play a 75% accuracy game and you win. And the other thing is that people can cheat even in 70% accuracy games, because you could play like yourself, and then once you're winning, you win. So you played a shit game, but once your opponent blunders, you just capitalize on that. And you only need help.
What was it? Advantage capitalization, right? Advantage capitalization, as we know, that is the only thing that matters, is the advantage capitalization. That's right. That's true, right? Only thing that matters.
One time during a game for it to be cheating, right? Like any outside assistance is cheating. So I feel like the talk, it was very interesting. It didn't have all the nuance because it focused on the accuracy stats. But he did bring up some pretty relevant points, which are that some guys who don't have any over-the-board results have fantastic online results and play at a much higher level online than over the board, which is sometimes my feeling as well. Like these guys who can't play chess over the board, or they don't have any
I mean, these guys, you heard it from Fabiano. These guys, they just can't play chess over the board. They just can't play chess over the board. That's so good. Fabiano's trying hard not to
and play at a much higher level online than over the board, which is sometimes my feeling as well. Like these guys who can't play chess over the board, or they don't have any significant results, suddenly they're geniuses online, which is, I think, the 1 hour talk is basically can be summarized as, why are some of these guys so good online suddenly? which is a relevant question. But from a scientific approach, I don't think it's like, yeah, we can't like put too much stock into these numbers. But I did find an interesting talk, and obviously Vladimir is, I mean, he's been world champion, so in general, it's interesting to hear what he says. He has a deep understanding of chess. And I was wondering, why does he play so much online chess now? So it turns out that maybe it's like a science experiment for him.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Maybe he's testing to see how prevalent cheating is.
Interesting thought.
So when we were in Norway, I played one of the Tile Tuesdays, right? On the rest day. Or rest day.
Yes, I did too.
Do you remember the first game, or I'm not gonna say the first game. One of the games, I played a guy who I was like convinced was cheating. You remember that game, right?
Of course.
Yeah, and I was also like, you were also kind of convinced, right? And the game was a draw, but the guy was crushing me, and I felt really weird during the game too. And I'm still like, I would bet money that when I have this weird feeling that it does end up being correct. But still, this account has not been closed since then.
I want to say also, because towards the end of the game, the position was winning for him, but he didn't have enough time, and he was still taking as much time, those few seconds in between moves that he usually.
It sounds suspiciously familiar to like many games I've been played online. It's where yeah, it's like the spot where, yeah, it's like, oh, a couple of it's a couple of moves. It's just like, you know, you keep thinking for a few seconds. I'm gonna find the game in a second, by the way. Yeah, it's like he's winning the game, but he's moving slowly. Why does it sound so familiar to me? It sounds so familiar.
It takes during the actual game as well. So if you draw those games all the way until the move 60 and all the way until the last few seconds, it feels like the accuracy,
I'll find the game in a second,
decreases significantly.
Yeah,
which is kind of a sign. Like it's always a sign that something fishy is happening.
Yeah, but on the other hand, people always like play worse with low time. But he was playing like consistently 5 seconds a move.
He had the cadence, yeah, the cadence of the moves.
He was playing, yeah, each move the exact amount of time, and then playing the first line of the computer, and every once in a while the second line of the computer, and then just crushing me. And then suddenly he gets low on time.
Yeah, gets low on time, blunders,
and I escape.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, like after that game, he just started to lose all his games. So why would you cheat against me and then lose all your games? I had the same feeling yesterday that I played someone who was cheating, and then after he plays me, like he crushes me, playing first line pretty much the entire game, and then suddenly he loses all his games. So I'm like, okay, well, yeah, maybe he just had a good game. Maybe it was just a lucky game, and then he played like he normally does after that. But I don't know, because on the other hand, do people is luck enough to play the first line of an engine for 20 straight moves for a player?
By the way, I love this. This look on Christian's face is so good here. By the way, this look on Christian's face is priceless.
Obviously, 99 times out of 100 would not do this. Like, can that happen 1 out of 100 times that they can follow the first line for 20 moves in complex position?
The answer is probably no, by the way.
If it can happen 1 out of 100 times, then obviously we can't.
I think the answer is no, by the way, to be clear.
From one game. But if it can't even happen 1 out of 100 times, then yeah, it's probably a sign of cheating, right?
That is a very good question, and perhaps
we'll get to the game in a second, you guys. I have the game.
Inching closer to the end of the show, we should ask our viewers to comment in the comment section and tell us what they think about this. So yeah, tell us what you think, whether you think this is normal or not.
Yeah, I was also thinking, like, is it arrogance? Because if I play 20 first line moves in a row, I'm like, okay, it happens.
Yeah, but I mean, but the thing is, this is Fabiano Caruana, one of the greatest players of all time. There's a slight difference between Fabiano and some FM. There's a huge difference.
Maybe it's arrogance on my side to assume that other people can't also play very accurately.
Difficult.
Obviously, I'm not talking.
lingering questions of a professional chess lifestyle. Yeah, well, Fabi, I think it's a good place to leave it at. And what should we tell our viewers? There's
all right, let's move on, you guys. So let's move on. Let's get to the game in question, which is what everybody wants to see. This is what everyone wants to see. So let me change the scene and let's get to the game in question. All right, here we go. The game in question. This is the game from June 6th. This is a Title Tuesday that I played in as well. Let's take a look at this game. So what do we have? Oh, by the way, the timestamps do show here. So we get e4. Fabiano with the black piece is playing Eddie Marsala. e4 b6. We get knight c3, bishop b7, d4 e6, bishop b3, knight f6. Okay, all pretty normal so far. ed5 takes castles, looks fine. Queen g4 already, like a very bold move. Not like a nothing going on, but it's a bold attacking move. So this sort of gives me some idea of like the style. This guy's like a very tactical, aggressive player. Okay, so you get queen g4, g6. Okay, bishop g5, bishop b7, trade. Okay, d5, another strong move. The volume's too loud now. Oh, is the volume too loud? Let me turn it back down. Sorry. 1 second. Okay. All right, we have d5 played here. We have e5 played by Fabiano. Now, okay, now this is the first interesting thing looking at this game. I don't have lines on, so let me turn the lines on. Actually, no, let me not turn the lines on because this gives me better objectivity without the lines on. D5 is it's a strong move, but I mean, it's not so much about that. Basically, here's what would happen. I'll tell you what would happen. If I was playing this game with a black piece, here's what I would say. Whether it's like over the board or online. What I would say in this position is quite simple. I'm pretty sure that white is significantly better. Now, I don't know if it's like 0.5 or more. Actually, it's 0.6, okay, but I was gonna say, like, it feels like white's better. It's probably like a 0.5-ish advantage where, like, if you play all the best moves, you're gonna prove that you have a good advantage, but if you make even one wrong move here, it's gonna turn around and Fabiano is gonna win this game. And the reason that I say that is because when you get to a position like this, let's say white goes rook e1, and you get to play like f5, queen d1, and knight d7. Now suddenly the pawn structure is actually quite decent for black, or the pawns on e5 and f5. So it's gonna be, every single move is gonna be pinpoint spot on to prove the advantage here. So what do we get? We get bishop b5. Okay, doesn't seem insane. I mean, checks the king here. Fabiano here plays king f8, which is interesting. I'm curious why he didn't play knight d7 here. I mean, maybe he's worried about like rook e1 and like queen a4 or something like this. I'm not sure. But I do find it peculiar that Fabiano did not play knight d7. It's very peculiar to me that he played king f8, but maybe Fabiano felt like it's the opposite also. You can just go like, at some point he's going to play like a6, kick the bishop away, then he finishes the development. He still is going to get some f5, and probably this is what he felt was best. Okay, king f8, you get f4. Whew. Strong move, a strong move. Jeez, this is yeah. Or wait, whoops, I clicked the wrong thing. Wait, what just happened? Wait, what just happened? Oh no, here we go. Okay, we have f4. What just happened? Okay, so f4, which is a strong move. We got a6, bishop a4. Okay, bishop a4. Okay, fine. I mean, b5, bishop b3, knight d7, rook a e1, and Fabiano plays e4 here. Okay, interesting choice. We get f5, another wowzer move. Is f5 the best move here? Oh wow, f5 is just cleanly the best move here. Jeez. Wow. Yeah, because f5 is a strong move. F5 is a strong move. Knight f6, queen h4, rook g8, knight e4. Interesting choice. I mean, not the end of the world, but I mean, like, if I were playing here, I would almost certainly take and go knight e4 like this, just because now you have the open f file, and just thematically this position looks like it should be winning somehow. Some d6 or like rook f4, some d6 down the road. So thematically fg6 looks correct. Knight e4, I mean, it's not the end of the world, but it's definitely a very strong move. So we get takes, trade, rook e4. Now again, interesting, because see, like, as I'm looking at this position thematically, just looking at this position right here, if I were playing this position, anytime I go for knight e4, I would definitely take and go into this. So okay, we get this. Look at the times. How do I see the times? Do I look at the wait, how do I pull back the times? Info, right? Or wait, how do I well, I'll look afterwards, I guess. Well, no, maybe not. Let me click the game again. Let me just click the game again. Okay. Let me go through. So we have this position. Okay, what are the time usage here? Okay, so the time usage is 7.9 for rook e1. Okay, bishop b5 played in 4.5. Bishop a4 played after 44 seconds. That's an interesting time. Bishop a4 is interesting to use 44 seconds for that. Wow. Okay, f5, 22 seconds to play f5. Yeah, 22 seconds for f5 is also kind of insane, but okay, we got knight f6, queen h4, rook g8. Okay, show goes on. King f8, f6. Okay, so now, I mean, now white's just crushing. I mean, you get rook e7, rook c7, game is over. So how does Fabiano save this? A5, A3, okay. Rook A6, rook E7, takes. Bishop A8, D6. I mean, rook H7 just wins the game. I mean, this is a bit much. Okay, white's still completely winning. What? But actually, you know what's funny? Maybe white's still... No, white's not still winning because you can get rid of the pawns. Yeah, so, I mean, so this is a game Fabiano played. This is obviously the game he's referring to. This is a game against Eddie Marsala. Now, let's see. You know, one thing that I think has to be said in regards to accounts, I think this has to be said, is that, you know, accounts are not automatically marked as, like, you know, violated fair play or things like that. It is a complicated situation. Now, anytime you look at an account and you see that there are no games that have been played since June 6th, this is actually the thing that's a little bit peculiar, is that, again, you know, their accounts were after the game ends, they don't play again. And you're seeing here that June 6th is the last time this account played. Or actually, you can't see that because I'm on the wrong scene, but now you can see it, right? Like, you'll see the last games here were played on June 6th and Title 2, saying no games have been played since June 6th. So, I mean, when Fabiano says that, like, the account might not be marked, but it does look a little bit weird that there have been no games played since then. Just definitely looks a little bit odd. Again, like, it's like the game that he played, it's a really crushing game, by the way, like, crushing game. Fabiano just gets flat out smoked, like, make no mistake about it. Fabiano gets, like, completely destroyed. Check his losses. I mean, well, I don't know, like, nobody knows what exactly the process is. Like, I know in the past, I think chess.com has had something where, like, the account gets marked, and I think the account doesn't get marked, but then you play on another account or things like that. So, I mean, I don't know exactly what their whole thing is, but it is definitely a little bit odd. Okay, but I mean, he just gets crushed out of move 20. I mean, he's just completely lost with the white piece in 20 moves here. I mean, it's... Yeah, I mean, this is just a wild game. I don't know what to say, but clearly Fabiano thinks something happened. I mean, there's no doubt in Fabiano's mind. So, who knows? Yeah. Because of the time usage, yeah, I mean, who knows? But to be fair, like, in this game, he uses like 58 seconds on move number 11. Like, he uses 58 seconds to play rook b1. But yeah, I mean, Fabiano got absolutely steamrolled in the game, and then he blunders at the end, ends in a draw. I mean, I've had that happen a million times to me too, by the way, where it's like, I'm just getting steamrolled in a game, and then at the end, once they get low on time, magically blunders start appearing. So who knows? I mean, Fabiano seems pretty convinced, but I mean, unless chess.com says something, I guess we'll probably never actually know, honestly. So yeah. Anyway, all right, so that was the game that we're taking a look at. So some interesting stuff in the C-Squared podcast, interesting things in terms of these videos, but yeah, nothing too crazy at any rate. So it is what it is.